Good morning, everybody. Thanks for joining me again today as we walk through Proverbs. And today we're in Proverbs 9. The topic of the day is, again, wisdom, and more specifically about how to share that wisdom and when to share that wisdom with others. Um, and as I read today, it reminded me of a cartoon that I saw on Facebook not too long ago. It's a guy sitting at his computer, and his wife is yelling from the other room, "Hey, come in, dinner's ready." And he says, "Just a minute. Somebody's wrong about something on the internet." And I know I'm not doing it justice, describing it to you. It's much funnier when you see it, but you get the idea. We have become this culture who feels like we have to correct one another, and uh, it's no longer a civil conversation or discussion. It turns into this ugly battle. And I feel like since the rise of the internet and especially social media, we've changed the way we talk to each other, and it's awful. It's just awful. We sit, in our homes behind our computer screens. We're safe, completely isolated, and we just lobbing verbal hand grenades across the cyberspace at people that we may or may not even know. Um, what is the where's the benefit of that? Where's the benefit of having those kinds of conversations? And I would say that Proverbs 9 points to when we should engage in those discussions and when we shouldn't. Starting in verse 7, it says, "He who corrects a scoffer, or someone who mocks or derides or jeers people, he who corrects a scoffer gets dishonor for himself, and he who reproves a wicked man gets insults for himself. Do not reprove a scoffer, or he will hate you. Reprove a wise man, and he will love you. Give instruction to a wise man, and he will be still wiser. Teach a righteous man, and he will increase his learning. The fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom, and the knowledge of the Holy One is understanding." So, when do we have the discussion? When do we engage in a conversation on social media? And how do we engage in a conversation on social media? I will never, ever, ever say that you shouldn't speak the truth, because we should. We should absolutely speak the truth. Um, but but we don't need to stoop to the level of hurling insults back and forth. Tell me how the message of Jesus, how the hope of Jesus is spread to non-believers by us insulting people that we disagree with. I would tell you that it's not. Um, you, I've talked to several people who say that they don't like church because people in church are hypocrites, and they're hard to deal with, and they're mean, and they're nasty. Why do you think that is? I've seen, literally, I've seen conversations. I should, and I use that term loosely. I've seen conversations between believers on social media that were ugly. I mean, it wasn't even about it wasn't even about what the original conversation was. It was literally personal insults hurled at one another. It was ugly, and and I think the world sees that, and it's like, I don't want any part of that. Where's Jesus in that? Where is Jesus in that? I would just say that if we're going to approach conversations with people, if we're going to speak truth to people, then we need to do it in a way that's civil and that reflects the love of Jesus to those people. It's okay to be edgy. It's okay to be direct. Jesus was those things. Here's the difference. Jesus knew the hearts and minds of men, and we don't. We're just assuming. So before you throw your next insult, before you correct someone who is a non-believer, understand that you're going to get insults back at you, and don't respond. You don't need to. You can share truth, and you can let the insults go. If you want to have a conversation with a believer. Have a discussion with a believer. Give instruction. Teach righteous people, and they will increase their learning. They will be wiser still. Why? Because they have Jesus. They have the fear of the Lord. It's the beginning. It's the prerequisite for wisdom. So we can engage in those discussions. I would much rather do it in person. As I tell you this over social media, I wish that we would consider how we are displaying Christ to people around us, especially on social media. And I would just encourage you that if you get drawn into emotionally charged discussions, take a step back. It's okay to not hurl the insult back. It's okay to not have the last word. It's all right. You don't need to, because you have Jesus, and Jesus has the last word. And that's the way we should be. Speak truth in love. Would you pray with me? Father, thank you for giving us wisdom again. Thank you for being our example. Help us to have conversations that reflect the love of Jesus. Amen.